From the misty Pacific coast to the rugged Cascade Mountains and beyond to the high desert in the east, you are listening to the Oregon First Hunting and Fishing Podcast.
Today, we are talking about Oregon mountain lion hunting. So if you love Pacific Northwest hunting and fishing, you're going to love this podcast, especially if you have ever wanted to try your hand at hunting a mountain lion. We're sitting here in the Tualatin, Oregon Cabela's conference room with our guest, Jim Myers. Said that right? Oh, good. And he runs the page PNW Mountain Lion and makes mountain lion hunting related content and successfully hunts mountain lions, which is a task all in itself. In this episode, we're going to talk about the new Oregon Corner Crossing Bill SB 1545. We're going to talk about hunting mountain lions without dogs, that is using calls and working hard at it. And we're going to have a conversation with our guest, Jim. So Jim is a serious hunter who is always looking for the next challenge in the field. He focuses his energy on pursuing the hardest game that Oregon has to offer, which is, as we said, cougars. But he also has completed his Turkey Slam, which is the Turkey Grand Slam, which is quite the feat. And he also hunts every animal that Oregon has to offer and is a strong contender for the Oregon Sports Pack Slam. Jim, welcome. Could you go ahead and say a few more things about yourself so we know who you are?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me. Obviously, I'm a fan of the show, so it's kind of cool being on.
Fun to have you on.
Yeah, I listen to you guys quite a bit. But yeah, I grew up in Michigan, hunting deer and turkey. Then I lived in Vail, Colorado for about 15 years, hunting elk, deer, bear, and I was a fly fishing guide in Vail, Colorado there for quite a while. I saw some mountain lions in my time in Colorado, not a ton, but then I moved to Washington State and started to hunt mountain lions a little bit. From there, I moved to Oregon, and this is where I really started hunting mountain lions because of the year-long season. I'm pretty busy at work, and I host a televised event every year for my job, and it gives me the opportunity to hunt anytime that I want, being that it's a year-round hunting season. I've traveled on 5 continents in more than 20 countries eating different foods. So eating mountain lion for the first time was not a big deal for me, and also traveling gave me an opportunity to see the world. I've hunted and fished all over the place, from Alaska to caribou hunting in Labrador to hunting turkeys in New Zealand and bear hunted in Canada. Mountain lions is my main focus now. I'm a pro staff team member of Sea Deer Camo Company. We're going to talk about hunting mountain lions today, which is different than hound hunting mountain lions. Like I said, it's kind of my main focus, and we're going to chat about the Oregon Sport Pack Slam, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. One note I want to make, because you're talking about 365-day season, and maybe that way we're not talking about it later. Let's just get the political part of the conversation out of the way.
Okay.
Because back in the 90s, the voters of Oregon said no hounds for cougars. Yep. And it wasn't a decision by ODF&W. It was voted on by the people of Oregon, so ODF&W can't do anything. And I think that's why, because before that it was not a 365-day season. Now it is, because we're so crippled in our efforts. It takes so much time, skill, and knowledge to be able to capitalize on a cougar, on the opportunity for a cougar. And so that's why we have 365 days. We cannot use hounds. You are allowed to use baiting, and you are allowed to use calls. And the ODF&W cannot, that is the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, cannot just bring back hound hunting for cougars. It has to be a vote. And, over the last couple of years, there's been some efforts legislatively to bring it back, but unfortunately they never made it all the way. Just to get that out of the way at the top of the conversation here, that's not necessarily the only reason why we hunt them the way we do, but it's what we have to do. Yeah. It's the only way you can do it legally in Oregon. Yeah. So, it's good to get that out of the way now.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different program than hound hunting. With hound hunting, obviously you get that game animal up in the tree. You get a mountain lion in the tree. You have more time. You can sex that animal. You can judge that animal's health. There's
maturity.
Yeah, you can take a lot of looks. When you're just strictly calling mountain lions, you get 6 seconds. That's all you get. Once that mountain lion comes in, it's coming to the call. It's looking for that distressed animal that you're trying to portray. You're calling them in close to you. Usually it's, 35 to 60 yards away from you. So you're calling
Man.
that mountain lion in close. You've got 6 seconds to make a call. Is it a male, female? Is it good health? Is it, is there more than one cat with it? So very short window of time to make that decision whether you are going to harvest that animal or not harvest that animal. So it makes it a little bit different hunting for sure. So,
and you
which is interesting.
You can't kill one with kittens, with spotted kittens.
Right. So,
but if they don't have spots, then theoretically they're over a year old and you can
correct.
Hunt those, you could call them kittens, I guess, younger cats. But that's another factor too in that 6 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Because are the female cougars with kittens coming into your calls with the kittens, or are they just hunting alone?
Yeah, so I've never had one that's come in with small kittens before. My friend Josh, he has called in. He harvested a mountain lion in the early spring, and then later in the spring, early summer, he called in another mountain lion. It came in with another smaller, size-wise, whether it was a female or a young male, but it definitely was a mom cat with a younger cat,
but not
with
a baby,
a baby. And Josh obviously opted not to harvest that mountain lion. He's already he's already harvested a mountain lion this year. He just decided to pass on that one. We've got pretty good video of it.
Oh, cool!
I've got it on my Instagram if anybody wants to check it out. But that was really cool that Josh was able to get that on video. I have never been in that situation where I've called in, a mom with kittens.
Yeah. So your Instagram is PNW_mountain_lion. So
Correct.
PNW Mountain Lion for anyone who wants to see that.
Yeah, if anybody wants to check that out, we have that video on there. It's a cool video. So.
Yeah, I think there's another thing to bring up about the Oregon cougar hunting is that you can get your first one. Yep. You can get an additional one.
Yep.
And so you can get 2 a year, right?
Correct, 2 a year. Yeah. Usually what I do is last year I was able to harvest one. I did my check-in. After my check-in, I went and bought additional tag.
Oh, yeah.
I probably didn't put as much effort into hunting. I'm kind of hiking and that kind of stuff. Usually I try to harvest one a year as kind of my goal, the game plan. But, if there's another one that comes in and it's happens, and I've already towards the tail end of the season and getting close to the next season. But usually I try to do one a year. But yes, you are allowed 2 tags, $16.50, pretty inexpensive. It's a great way to be in the backcountry every day if you want to.
So to kill a blacktail, I hunt pretty bad public land, super high pressure, It takes me about 15 hunts, whether that's a half-day hunt or a full-day hunt. It takes me about 15 hunts to get my buck for rifle blacktail. Yep. Do you have any kind of reference on how many hunts you're putting in to fill your cougar tag?
Yeah, I usually say it takes me about 50 days.
50 days?
Yeah, 40 to 50 days in the backcountry.
So like serious?
Yeah, either that's a half
like
day.
Like weekend multi? Okay,
yeah,
can
that
be.
could be a half day too. I count it, as if I'm a half day. It depends on what I have going on with family. If I can get up early. It's nice during the summertime because it's light at 4:30, 4:40 in the morning. So
it makes turkey hunting kind of hard because you got to wake up so early to get out there.
But there's times where I'll count this as a day where I'll get up 3:30 in the morning. I'll drive an hour to where I'm going at 4:30 in the morning. Once I get there, I'll hike, hang out, and try to be done by 9. Drive back home, and I'm home by 9:45. Yeah. So I count that as a hunt. So, but usually that many days. Last year it took me a little bit longer. It really kind of took me, I think, about 6 months. And
wow.
And believe me, I got no problems with it. I would rather drag it out. There's a guy, Robert, that I've been speaking with. He harvested already one this year in January.
Wow.
He's going to buy a second tag and hunt a little bit more, obviously. But I really want to drag that season out as long as I can.
Well, because I feel that way when I kill it. Like last year for archery season, I killed my buck on the first day. Yeah. And so I never even really got to experience deer archery because the first morning, buck's dead. It was great. I'm happy to do it, but so I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I really like to drag the season out. I'm sure my wife probably doesn't like me dragging the season out, but it's great for me to spend as much time in the backcountry, getting away from work, clearing your head and that kind of deal. So it's a great opportunity.
Usually by, halfway through October, my wife's starting to feel it. And then that last couple weeks of October when I'm hunting almost every day, she says I need to take a break at some point, Well,
so it goes it shows that we both have passion towards hunting and that we like enjoying the field probably more than the harvest or more than anything.
Yeah. So. Yep. The meat's important.
Yeah.
Right?
Very important.
When the freezer's empty, my mind shift definitely changes, but I usually start off the beginning of season with good intentions of holding out for a mature animal, and then we see how ground down I get by the end if I take a forky.
Yeah, there you go.
So I just wanted to say to the listeners before we get into icebreakers, make sure to follow us wherever you want to. We are on Instagram and we're on Facebook. And, right now, wherever you're listening to this show, leave us a review. It really helps the platform show our podcast to other people. And if you think that we deserve 5 stars, then give me those 5 stars. I'm happy to take it. If you think we only deserve 1 star, then maybe send me an email instead and let me know why. But in all honesty, leaving a rating goes a long way. I'd love to see the feedback from people. You can join our club. It's just a very unofficial online club, no cost, no fee, called Salem First Hunting and Fishing Club on Facebook groups. And our next event in late May, we're going to go fishing. Now, we've done this bass fishing trip every spring as a club, but this year's a little different. We actually have a sponsor. So, friend of the show, Little Dave, Little Dave's Baits. His real name's Dave Kniebel Jr. He's a guy who makes bass fishing baits, but he's going to be giving a nice little goodie bag of swim baits and worms and stuff to everyone who participates in that club trip. So that's pretty exciting. I called him up to ask him because he said he had a whole bunch of what I'd call misprints, baits that weren't quite good enough to sell but would definitely still fish good. And he said, well, how about I do you one better and I'll make goodie bags for everyone who's going to go. So thank you, Dave. Excited for that. But if you come on that fishing trip, you're going to get at least some free baits out of it. And if not, hopefully we'll get on some fish, That's at the end of May. But let's keep the show moving along and get into icebreakers. All right, Jim. So you can answer in as little or as much detail as you want, but these are just off the cuff, first instinct. Fishing or hunting?
Fishing or hunting, that's a pretty tough one for me. Obviously, I kind of noted that I was a fly fishing guide in Vail, Colorado for 10 years, and I really enjoy fly fishing. I feel like that's a pretty big passion of mine, but hunting obviously is a big passion of mine too. So I struggle with that.
It's a hard choice, right?
I struggle with it. I grew up, I remember, my first deer that I harvested in Michigan with a bow. Fred Bear's one of his bows.
Sweet.
It was 1982.
It must not have been a compound bow.
Nope,
man.
So, yeah, I think my first compound bow was a Darton SL30.
What year would that have been?
It was probably late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Maybe somewhere around there. I'm going to say probably late 80s was when Darton, they made an SL50 and an SL30. So, which is kind of the first compound bows that came out. So that's a tough one for me, but I'm probably going to stick with hunting due to the fact that I do more hunting now. But I love being on the Deschutes River and rowing my raft down the Deschutes. So. Yeah, I'm going to stick with hunting probably. That's a tough one for me.
Oh, yeah. Man, it's a hard question to throw at you. So, talking terminology here. All right. Mountain lion, cougar, or puma?
I'm going to go mountain lion.
Mountain lion?
Yeah.
You ever just say lion or always mountain lion?
I always say mountain lion, especially to make sure that I'm using the correct terminology and not lion. If you're saying lion, I feel like that's South Africa, kind of African.
Cecil the lion or whatever.
So mountain lion for me. Puma is kind of, I have a lot of friends in South Florida. They kind of use the puma quite a bit. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of associate that with like Southwest and Florida, Southeast as well. Okay. A lot of guys around here say cougar though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find myself saying cougar or lion. Yeah. I never really say puma. Yeah. So for hunting, since you picked hunting, Eastern Oregon or Western Oregon? Just in general, of all the hunting.
I'm going to probably go Eastern I'm going to go Western Oregon because I spend a lot of time in Western Oregon hunting. Eastern Oregon is a lot like Vail, Colorado. It's a lot like Colorado where I grew up hunting quite a bit.
High desert, drier, big mountains.
Yeah, so I feel it's like I never really hunted much, kind of the Pacific Northwest, kind of like not tropical, but
rainforest.
Rainforest. Man, it really puts a lot of challenges. You look at those guys that born and raised that did all that elk hunting and bear hunting, and man, it just goes to show you how tough the hunting is on this side, just because how dense the canopy is that you're hunting.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because I've never actually really hunted east. I mean, I've gone east on trips, but I've never hunted Eastern Oregon on the east side of the Cascades.
Yeah.
And I've hunted for a little while now, and I've hunted a lot, and so it says something about my specialty and my naivety of what I know about hunting.
Yeah.
But the West is so brushy, and it can really wear a guy down, tearing rain gear apart with blackberries and crawling on your hands and knees just to get through some good habitat. But yeah, I feel you there on it's just home, it's close.
Yeah, and the tactics are different that I use for hunting mountain lions on the east and west side. So, because I've hunted on the east side, and so the tactics are a little bit different that I try to use. And it's a little bit more open. You don't have to worry about getting flanked by a mountain lion as bad as you do on our side of the state.
Yeah. All right, next icebreaker. The year's 2030. Tina Kotek has had her way. Hunting is now mostly illegal. You can only pick one tag a year. Are you going to pick elk or cougar?
Man, that's a real tough one. You think I should say I'm only getting one tag a year, and that's the only time I can hunt?
One tag a year in Oregon.
I mean, the amount of meat that you get for a freezer for a mountain lion is not that much compared to elk. I'm going to have to go elk.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that you want to fill the freezer. You want to have all those good meals throughout the year, the summer barbecues, all the different meats that you can make it. So I'll go elk just for the sheer fact.
For the meat.
Yeah, for the sheer fact that you can fill your freezer.
What if it was hunting style though? Because I mean, elk hunting is exciting. If you're bow hunting, they're screaming at you. If you're lucky, it's a very active form of hunting. But the mountain lion, you're also still calling. Yeah. But they don't normally call back, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, over the years, to answer this one, you said I could give the long version, so I'm going to give you the long version on this one. So I've never been in a weird situation with a mountain lion that I felt nervous. But one year I was hunting elk in Colorado, back in Vail, and I had a muzzleloader buck tag, and I had a cow archery tag. So I had a muzzleloader on my back.
Wow.
And I had my bow in my hand. I got into some elk. A bull was with a bunch of cows.
Okay.
I kind of broke off a little bit, and I was hoping that I could get the cows to circle around me. So I was calling, just doing a little bit of calling. It was really crazy. The cows took off one direction, and the bull came right to me.
Oh.
I called that bull probably, I bet you 15, 20 yards from me.
Wow.
And I could see the water dripping out of his nose.
Oh, man.
He pointed his horns right at me. His rack was right at me. Once he realized that it wasn't a cow, he wasn't sure what I was. Obviously, I was pretty scent controlled.
Do you think that the cows knew right away, but he was confused? That's strange behavior.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Normally the bull will, if it's a challenger, he'll push the cows away.
Yeah.
But whenever I've cow called to a herd, they all start chirping back and want me to come to them.
Yeah.
So that's really weird behavior.
Yeah, this was opposite. That group of cows went off. And that bull,
was that a rut hunt? Was that?
Yep, it was a rut hunt.
Yeah,
that bull pointed his rack right at me and started walking right towards me.
Yeah.
Man. And at that point, now he's 7-10 yards from me.
He wanted to fight you.
Yeah, and I had
just cow calling, right?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him. I'm like, hey buddy, look it. So that's probably the most nervous I've ever been. Where I felt like I was maybe in danger for myself.
And it was an elk of all things.
It was an elk of all things.
No bear, no cougar.
No, bear hunted, I've cougar hunted, and it was just that one elk, man.
Well, Colorado's got some grizzlies, right? Or not so much?
No, not so much. Okay. I think that's all Montana.
Montana, okay, got it. Yeah, because I was trying to picture sort of the, my perspective of the world is pretty small, so got it. Bow or rifle?
Bow or rifle, can I throw a mix in there and say muzzleloader?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So I really enjoy bow hunting. It's pretty fun. Got a trip coming up this spring to Texas. Obviously, I rifle hunt more for mountain lions.
Sure.
But I have muzzleloaded hunt for mountain lions. But if I had my choice, it's muzzleloading season. There's less people in the backcountry. And,
that's a good part of it.
It's a pretty good challenge. So I really enjoy the muzzleloading. So that would be my first choice on anything.
Have you found it harder out here than in Colorado, at least on the west side?
Yeah.
Because of the wetness, right?
Yeah. I'll switch between different types of muzzleloaders. I have more of a traditional Hawkins muzzleloader with a percussion cap that I hunt with if it's dry out.
Okay.
If it's raining, I'll switch to the Omega, and it has a musket cap. And that musket cap burns a little bit hotter, gives a little bit more spark. So when it is raining, you get a little bit more oomph, and a chance for that to go off. I've had several times where, I've had a buck in front of me and it was snowing and my little percussion cap didn't go off and, was unable to harvest that game. But
isn't there something with wax, like keeping the water off of something?
Not so much.
Okay.
I'm not sure on that. I mean, a lot of times I try to use like some kind of cover over my my muzzleloader, some kind of a gun bag or something.
Yeah.
I've seen even guys, take dishwashing rubber gloves, cut the fingers out of it, and kind of stretch that over the top.
Oh yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just trying to keep that primer as dry as possible. Mm-hmm. So muzzleloader would be my choice on that one.
Nice. Well, that does it for icebreakers. So now we know everything we need to know about your tendencies in the woods. But
yes.
Make sure to share this show with someone that you know who loves hunting and fishing. And I want to encourage you to check out thelifeoutdoors.org to learn more about who we are and what we do and what we have going on. Let's get into the news. I wanted to talk about the Oregon corner crossing legislation, which I just learned about in the last couple days. SB 1545 of 2026. Obviously they reuse those numbers. So if you Google it, there's a bunch of other, property tax related things and whatnot. But this version of it in 2026 has to do with corner crossing and finally defining the legality of it. So currently, Oregon has ambiguous corner crossing laws, and it is not easily defended in court. If a landowner sees you on some public land that is landlocked, then there's potential trespassing charges that you could get challenged with, which is just crazy, right? If you get caught on public land, a neighboring landowner could, they'd say, oh, the only way you can get there is by trespassing. So it's just pretty crazy, that situation there. I put a funny note there that I won't read. Screw Weyerhaeuser. Because when I hear about this, I look at my Onyx and I've got like 4 or 5 different markers on landlocked, blocked by Weyerhaeuser, specifically pieces that would just be awesome. But anyway, Oregon State has about 47,000 acres of inaccessible public lands that are state-owned. And I couldn't find a figure for how many federal acres, because they're 53% of Oregon is federal public land. And so who knows, someone probably knows how much of the federal land in Oregon is landlocked, but just state land, 47,000 acres of inaccessible public land. And this is all talking about land that's blocked by private landowners. So whether they're timber companies or ranches or whatever they might be, buying a buffer around public land, and then the donut hole in the middle of the public land no longer being accessible. So what corner crossing will do is give another tool to hunters to legally access public land from public land and prevent the tax-free pseudo-ownership that many ranches in Oregon enjoy today by, like I said, buying the land around that donut hole of public land. Then they're able to enjoy that as if it is their own land. A lot of them even will have hunting guides that use their ranches and have sole access to that public land. This bill, though, does help landowners by protecting them from negligent claims. So the way that the bill is written and what it covers is that the landowners are completely protected if anyone were to corner cross, and there's no kind of liability that they're going to be able to incur by the activity of corner crossing. But also the hunters are given the right to access, how many acres was it? 47,000 47,000 state land parcels, and who knows how many federal land parcels, So just as a personal note here, I believe that our public lands are our inheritance as American citizens, and that we need to do everything that we can to keep it in our possession and to protect our rightful access to our lands that we pay for, we steward, by paying our taxes and our bills, but even just as the rights of living here, of being born here, like it's our inheritance. For a definition, corner crossing is passing from one corner of public land to another public parcel where the corners meet. And this situation is created because we have lots of checkerboarded landscapes, that if you imagine a checkerboard with black and white squares, the black being public and the white being private, that's how a lot of our land looks across the West. And so there's just tons and tons of land that you can't access because of this checkerboard. It's gotten support from Republican and Democrat legislators, from rural to big city, Portland, which is encouraging considering it's so new, and hopefully it'll just continue to grow in support. And another cool note of the bipartisanship is that the bill is brought to us by a Republican and a Democrat senator working together from Central Oregon. And, I learned a lot of this from news articles. I couldn't find the actual bill language, but you can follow Oregon Hunters Association and Backcountry Hunters Association Oregon, and they're going to be keeping us up to date about what we need to do. But Jim, when I say all that, is there any pieces of property coming to your mind that are corner locked right now?
Yeah. When you started talking about this, it made me think about the time that, I was probably in my 20s, and we got some over-the-counter tags in Wyoming for antelope. And back then, we didn't have Onyx, we didn't have GPS yet.
Yep.
We just had the fold-out map. And
yeah.
When you fold out that map, and we tried to figure it out, you look at Wyoming's map, it's completely checkerboard everywhere.
Wow. Yeah.
So for us, we were just, kids from Colorado wanted to go up and do some antelope hunting because we didn't draw antelope tags.
Yeah.
So we figured, we can get over the counter in Wyoming. And so we go up to Wyoming, and we're using maps, and it was really tough for us to figure it out. We could see that there were some landlocked areas, but we weren't sure back then, can we cross over that? We didn't know what to do. We knew that it was public land from what the map showed, but we didn't know how to access it. And, we just didn't know what the policy was. We were just kids in our 20s back then, and nobody's done this corner crossing or even talked about it until kind of Steve Ranella really brought it up. And, the guys, I think it was guys from Arkansas that were up hunting.
Missouri.
That's
what it was.
You're talking about
the big one this last couple of years? Yeah, Missouri guys.
Yeah, so those guys really put this to the forefront for everybody. And,
we got an actual court decision to protect it in those states. Oregon's not included as one of those states.
Yeah.
But the certain region of the courts over there, which was, I know it was Montana and Wyoming and some of those other states over there, it's legally protected now that you can corner cross.
Yeah, and we just didn't know when we were kids. We didn't know if we could, so we just stayed in our areas that we knew for sure.
Square.
Yeah, that were right off the road that we knew we could hunt. And I'm glad that now this is going to be looked at in Oregon. This is something really important. Obviously for me, I do all my hunting on public lands.
Me too.
I'm a guy that just buys my tags over the counter, and I hunt on public lands. So anything that I can access for public lands for mountain lion hunting, I'm sure is going to help in the long run. So,
no kidding. Because imagine what this opens up, lands that have only been hunted by, landowners who have those privileges of owning the donut around the private or the public land.
Yeah.
There's going to be some pretty sweet spots that not received very much pressure at all that are suddenly going to be open if this goes through.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the mountain lion side of it, those mountain lions have probably never been called or hunted, and
they're not educated.
No, and they hang out probably, and they're hunting those ungulates. And it'd be a good opportunity for somebody like us to go in and do some mountain lion hunting in some of those areas.
If we think of most situations, like if it's a hunting ranch or even just a cattle ranch, but then they have guided hunts on the property, which a lot of them do, right?
Yep.
The big ones.
Yep.
They're hunting elk and deer, maybe bear, maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen too many guided cougar hunts advertised, and so they'll probably pop them if they see them, or maybe if they're livestock depredation.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's going to be a bunch of uneducated cougars who are finally reachable living up in these corners, right?
Yeah. Should be great for anybody that's new to hunting, for a great opportunity for them to try, and especially get into those public lands.
Yeah, if we can just make sure to really identify the corner correctly, however that's going to look. And
yeah, which is much easier now than onX than when I was trying to do it, when we were in our 20s living in Colorado, so.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because when I first started hunting, for like the first 5 years or so, onX was still pretty new and I didn't have it. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a map either, though. I just would go up, and if there was no fence or no gate, I just kind of assumed I could hunt it.
It's national forest or
but then when I got onX, I realized some of them were private. They just decided not to post it or have a fence or anything. Yeah. So after I got onX, it kind of refined my hunting areas to the public. But yes,
it's onX has probably been one of the biggest tools in hunting that's come out.
Yeah, as far as knowing where to go,
and knowing
it's
where to be.
completely changed it.
Yeah,
because I used to just drive up the road until I found a gate, and then if it didn't have a sign on it or it said Weyerhaeuser and I knew that it was an open one, or Hampton or whatever it was, I'd go hunt up there for the day and follow wherever it leads. I wouldn't know the topography I was getting into or anything, but the biggest thing about onX is sure the land ownership, but even able to say, oh, if I go over this ridge, there's a bench down there, and then sure enough the elk love benches and whatever else it is you're hunting.
Yeah, it's given a real opportunity, but it also gives a real opportunity to understand where these landlocked areas are as well.
Yeah. So once again, make sure to follow Oregon Hunters Association and the Oregon chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and I think they're going to be keeping us up to date if there's any action needed on our part a lot of the times with these, because they're just legislation that sometimes we have to contact our lawmakers or our senators or whoever it might be, but we'll just keep an eye on that. So if you follow those guys, they're going to know more than I do about what to do next. But I want it. Do you want it too?
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. So let's make it happen. Well, that does it for the news. Let's get into our conversation with Jim Myers. All right, Jim. Can you please share your favorite hunting or fishing story?
Okay. Good question.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, so I would say probably most of my favorite ones are probably hunting with my dad. I think anybody growing up hunting, you either hunted with a cousin, an uncle, or somebody like that, a mentor of some sort. Mm-hmm. For me, my dad was my hunting mentor. We went out west and hunted together, elk in Montana. Him and I made a pact that we were going to do our Grand Slam together with turkeys.
Oh, man,
Yeah, it was really cool. So I'd say probably one of my favorite ones was I was in Texas, pretty close to the Mexico border with my dad, and we were hunting the Rio Grande turkeys down there.
Oh, yeah.
A long hunt. It was super hot. It took us a while to call in some turkeys, but it finally happened, and so that really got us close to our slam. Both of us needed to finish our Florida turkey.
Florida? Okay.
Yep. So
is Florida tougher? I've heard something about people talk about Florida turkeys a lot.
Yeah, it's just because the cutoff line is kind of below the panhandle and down. So there's not as big of a region.
What do you mean the cutoff line?
So you on the northern side of the panhandle, those are still considered eastern.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get your species.
Yes. So
okay.
And
so it's species and states, though, right?
Not so much states, it's just
Okay.
species.
Okay.
You know, so that gave us an opportunity. My dad and I went down there in Florida, South Florida, and we were able to both harvest our turkeys then, and that finished
Sweet.
off our Grand Slam. So
Did you register it with the National Wild Turkey Federation and everything?
Yeah, we did.
that's cool.
Both of us did. So I think that's probably the most memorable hunt. You know, at one point, I harvested a turkey in South Dakota with a muzzleloader, and I think it was ranked number 14th in
Wow.
the world. I think it's now probably down into the 40s.
So,
but I think that was in like
it's-
2004.
You scored the turkey. How do
Yeah.
you score a turkey?
Yeah, so you got to score turkeys to be able to get them into the Turkey Federation to be a
Really?
legit record keeping.
I did
so
not. That's new information to me.
It's weight, beard, spur length.
Okay.
So all that kind
Anything to do with the fan?
of nothing to do with the fan. It's just weight,
Really?
beard, and spur
Man,
length.
if I was gonna make something up, out of thin air, I would have definitely gone by the fan. So that's funny.
Yeah.
Anything with you said the beard?
Yep. Length of the beard
Okay.
could be a double beard, could be the multiple beards.
Is it, so then it would go total beard length.
Yep, and then it would go multiple beards, more than one.
Is it kind of like bear, where there's like an equation they multiply stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously you go into spurs and spur length.
Spur length,
So,
yeah.
So for my dad and I to finish a Grand Slam together in turkeys,
Florida.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
So both of you at the same time,
Yeah.
same hunt. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so
Man. I'm
having
sure
a
that
met-
was so exciting. Was it the same morning too?
I think it was the same morning, if I remember
Wow.
right. So,
Man. Yeah, that's real special.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I would just say my favorite hunting is just being there with my dad and
Yeah,
hunting. So
sure.
we hunted deer this year together, and
Oh, yeah.
we had some challenges in Michigan. So as usual,
Okay.
bow hunting. So
Does he
it's
still live out in Michigan?
he's out in Michigan. They were down in Florida for a little while, and now they're in back up in Michigan. But
Okay.
my dad's in his 80s, so it's still
Man.
pretty cool to hunt with
Yeah,
him.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in a hunting family, but now my son is.
Yeah.
And I always remind him, I'm like, easy. Not everyone gets to experience this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
He went on his first duck hunt this year. He's 5. He obviously didn't hunt, but he pointed out a coot when
Yeah.
we were floating back to the launch.
Yeah.
So we had to, blast it for him because
Yeah.
he spotted it and he was so excited, and he snuggled the coot for like an hour after that. Like as if it was a teddy bear, and it's dead and its head is flopping all around, and he's hugging it and rubbing his face on it, and it was just hilarious. But
Oh, that's funny.
and then we took it home and he ate it, and he said
Yeah.
it was delicious. So
Yeah,
yep.
we harvested some coot last year with my friend Jason Otto.
Oh, yeah.
and up in Washington State, and I brought the coot home too.
Yeah.
It tastes just as good as anything
That's
else.
I never understood the complaints of diver ducks.
Yeah.
And maybe we have high quality ones where we live.
Yeah.
But I've never had any problem eating a coot or a bufflehead or any kind of diver you could name. Nope. Even mergansers.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the difference. Yeah. But I did find a really good way to cook up a bunch of bufflehead breast. If you kill a bunch of small ducks, I chicken fried them.
Oh, okay.
So I took a fork, stabbed them a bunch, seasoned them, flattened them out as much as I could. Then I did, after I dried them off, I did a flour dip, and then an egg dip, and then breadcrumbs, and then fried them in some shallow oil. And I put just regular gravy, country gravy on them. And it was super good.
Yeah,
it was
sounds
just
good.
like chicken fried steak, but it was bufflehead instead. So
I'll take it. Well,
yeah.
I'm glad at age 5 he enjoyed the coot.
Oh man, yeah, he loved it, and now he's got his heart set on a goose. But he also says that he wants his first animal to be an antelope. So I'm trying to figure out how to orchestrate that. Might require a trip out of state, but we'll see what we can do.
Wyoming might be your spot.
Oh yeah, because it's got the over the counter.
Yeah, and lots of antelope there. It's
Okay.
a great spot to hunt.
Yeah. I think I don't know what the minimum age to hunt is out there, but definitely looking into that.
Yeah.
So, no, but thanks for sharing that. Those memories are great.
Yeah.
Does your daughter hunt with you, or is she going to?
She doesn't. She's 8.
She's on the golf scene.
Yeah, she's on the golf scene, so she's got to focus and
Yep.
playing golf and playing hockey.
Yeah. That's hockey too, huh?
Yeah, yep. She plays for the Portland Winterhawks junior team.
Sweet. You were a guide, a fly fishing guide in Vail, Colorado for a decade.
Yeah.
Which is a good run.
Yeah.
And you did some hunting out there too. Now you're in Oregon for about 7 or 8 years, you said.
Yeah.
So my question is, how have the outdoor opportunities compared in Oregon from Colorado?
Yeah, good question. Colorado is obviously the mecca of hunting. I recently just went back to Vail, not last summer, the summer before. My friend Ray Zivalongi drew a mountain goat tag.
Oh, wow, sweet. Is that a once-in-a-lifetime tag out there?
Once-in-a-lifetime tag. We started applying for the tag. Ray started applying for that tag in his 20s.
Really?
He, I think, raced 56 now, 57, somewhere around there.
Wow.
Finally drew the tag. So we went up, and it was great that he was able to harvest a mountain lion. Obviously, or I meant a mountain goat.
A mountain goat, yeah.
Obviously, we have mountain goats here in Oregon, but I just feel like, there's the elk population, the mountain goat. Obviously, you can hunt moose in Colorado. That's a draw tag too, a lifetime draw tag.
You can't hunt moose out here, no.
So I just feel like Colorado is probably the mecca, and that's probably why I moved from Michigan to Colorado. One of the reasons was that I really enjoyed the hunting. I feel like Colorado is more a young man's hunting game.
Sure.
Just because we're hunting at high altitude.
Okay.
Vail is at 8,500 feet, and that's starting.
Yeah.
And so a lot of hiking. You got to be in good condition, to hunt in Colorado. But I feel like Colorado has more opportunities than Oregon. But on the other side, I will say that Oregon, I think, has better mountain lion hunting opportunities.
Really?
And so if you...
Even though you can't use dogs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. If you gave me the opportunity between the two states, I would take Oregon for mountain lion hunting before I would take Colorado. But I think I would take Colorado on almost everything else.
Well, now think about the connection that you're making there. You're saying that Oregon is a predator-heavy state, and so maybe that's why Colorado's ungulate hunting opportunities are a little better.
Yeah.
Because we are a predator-heavy state.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the black bear population, the mountain lion population. Those are kind of our top two apex predators here. Yeah. And we've got a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really, at the end of the day, this is kind of why I kind of wanted to get an Instagram account going. I wanted to have some kind of a voice on hunting. Back when the Colorado proposition, that 127 came about, that they were going to take it to the public. And
that was just last year, 2 years ago, right?
About 2 years ago. And really, I feel like the biologists should be making the call, not the public. So I'm glad that the state of Colorado residents stood up and said, hey, this is not what we want to do. So, I was really kind of frustrated with that a little bit, that we were going to let the, public make a decision, that really the biologists, the professionals should be making a decision. So really that kind of gave me an opportunity, a little oomph, to start an Instagram account last year to be a little bit more boisterous. I know my voice isn't very big, but really I wanted to keep mountain lion hunting going. And so I figured any kind of voice that I could have would be a little bit.
All of us little guys, too, we're all a part of it. Yeah. I think in my memory, and I'm a young adult, so my memory doesn't go back extremely far, but that one was kind of the first time I saw like a nationwide unification of the hunters against an attack. Yeah. And then we saw it again with the public land sell-off that was coming down the tube from the Utah senator. And so, I feel like the hunting community is kind of poised right now to defend ourselves against some things if we get the strategy right. And we have a lot of really healthy organizations right now, whether it's Howl or Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, or, for us in Oregon Hunters Association does a lot legislatively and policy-wise to help protect hunting and access rights. But, to bring that up, it's all of us little guys too that are the ones who are a part of the machine of trying to protect hunting and fishing and our rights there. And it was pretty scary when Colorado had that coming down the tube, because we saw it happen in California, we saw it happen in Oregon with hounds. We see, so many different. I mean, we just lost beaver trapping on public land this year. Yeah, which is a huge blow. That means you go up and down the Willamette River, you can't beaver trap. Yeah. It's mind-blowing, because for all of human history, we've been beaver trapping public land on the Willamette River and all these public land spots in Oregon. And so it shows it's pretty easy to lose it.
Yeah, and that's why I was pretty nervous. I mean, I remember I was actually on holiday in Hong Kong, laying in a hotel room, and I debated, should I start an Instagram account on mountain lion hunting? But it really kind of forced me to think about, after this, this Proposition 127 in Colorado, that I should have some kind of voice. So so I mean, end of the day, I feel like Colorado has some really good hunting opportunities, but I feel like Oregon has better predator hunting, as far as mountain lion on the northern side, and then the southern side of the western state is more better bear.
Oh man,
so there's more bears, I think, on the southern side, and then more mountain lions on the northern corner.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I'm gonna ask more questions about mountain lion regions later, kind of breaking the state down, because that's something I'm real curious about too. When did you start hunting mountain lions?
Yeah, so I mean, I started a little bit in Washington State when I was living in Seattle. I go over to the eastern side of the state with a friend and Jarrett Crandall, and do some hunting over there. And I kind of had two guys that harvest some mountain lions that were in our group. Okay. And so that really piqued my interest and really kind of got me going. And then obviously, did a little bit there, and then obviously, once I moved here to Oregon, that really kind of got me going because of the year-long season. Washington State does not have that long year season, which really gave me an opportunity to hunt more here.
So when you were in Colorado, you didn't do so much. It wasn't until you're in Washington. So
correct.
So most of your mountain lion hunting is PNW specific.
Correct.
And Western PNW?
Correct.
Okay.
A little bit on the east side of the state.
Sure.
I go over and scout mountain goats each year, and so we go over there and do a little bit of mountain lion hunting over there as well.
Could you tell me the story of your first mountain lion?
Yeah. Well, how about, do you want the first one that I called in, or just the first one that I harvested? Well, so because it's a tough go.
Let's talk about the first one you intentionally called in, pursued.
So I called in a mountain lion. And, I was young, trying to get it figured out. And when I called that mountain lion in, I was a little dumbfounded. Like I said, you only get 6 seconds. And
I mean, I've tried. I have a Fox Pro. I go out there and, someday when it happens, I don't even know what I'm going to do when I see that thing. But anyway, keep going. I want to hear.
Yeah, just, called the mountain lion in, was a little dumbfounded. The thing about mountain lion hunting is you're going to go out and you're going to call, and you're going to have a lot of blank stands, a lot of them. And you're going to wonder, are my skills good, or my, woodsmanship skills good? Am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? With mountain lion hunting, it's like you need to be able to be in the right spot at the right time when that mountain lion is in the area. Their territory's, pretty big. We'll get into territory and talk a little bit about that. But, roughly a male's territory is 100 to 200 square miles, depending on the territory and the amount of males that are in that territory. Okay. Those males are trying to defend their territory. A female's is much smaller, maybe 20 to 70 square miles. And those factors are, with the ability the availability of food, the quality of habitat. And so those territories can range in a little bit different sizes.
So when you say territory, that's different than range, right? Because there's only one group of lions, one family unit using that territory.
Yeah.
Compared to like a range, if you say the range of a deer, is however many acres, but there could be multiple deer sharing that range. But mountain lions don't share range, do they?
Males will not. Females do.
Females do.
Yeah, females will share a range, and they'll cross over and overlap, but the male will not.
So do you happen to know, is it known when a big tom is killed in an area, how long it usually takes for a new tom to find it, move in?
I do not. That would be a great
biologist.
Great biologist question to ask. I've had time to spend with Peter as our biologist that's in this area.
Okay.
And you'll have to do a check-in with him if you do harvest.
Does he specialize in cougars?
He does. He's written
That's really cool,
a lot of information, but obviously he's a biologist, so he oversees a bunch of stuff. But I've gotten the opportunity to spend some time with him during my check-in on mountain lions in the past and ask him questions. So that would be like if you had an opportunity to do a podcast with somebody, a biologist would be the great one to do.
Yeah,
so they're pretty tough, but
I feel like I have too many questions. I need to like, if I'm going to interview a biologist, I need to narrow it down.
Yeah, I mean, here in Oregon, we have approximately like 7,000 mountain lions, and with that, the ratio is a little bit off. It's like 1 male to 8 females.
Really?
So if you're probably, most likely if you get a mountain lion on camera, or your opportunity probably is much higher to harvest a female than it is a male.
Sure. So I think we got ahead of ourselves. Did you finish your story?
Not really.
Okay.
So going back to that. So called mountain lion in 6 seconds, shot over the top, missed, and unfortunately didn't harvest that mountain lion. But pretty interesting.
Do you think it was a tom or a female? What do they call the females?
Yeah, I would say it was probably most likely it was probably a female. It was more of a juvenile. It's interesting with the juvenile cats. Those are the ones that probably get themselves in trouble a little bit more than a big dominant male.
They don't have the experience.
Yeah, they're just learning how to hunt. They're like, oh, I hear this call. It's an easy prey for them to come in. So the opportunity is a little bit easier.
Some of those toms have been called in before.
Yeah, they're probably a little bit smarter. They hunt a little bit better. So, they're learning. So that's where they get themselves in trouble a little bit.
If, like, for example, you missed that cat. If you went back in there the next day, is there any chance that cat's going to come into the call, or are they educated? They're not.
Yeah.
Because when you tree a lion with hounds, it educates them.
Yeah.
They start to avoid it, like the plague, the sound of dogs, or even people. If they associate it, they're very good learners.
Yeah, I think you're educating them. I think I've educated mountain lions. I think there's times where I've called mountain lions in, especially in the dense area that we're hunting, and they probably might have just sat outside a little bit.
Observed and
hung out. Let's see, 2 years ago, I harvested a mountain lion, and I called the mountain lion in, and I saw the head of the mountain lion, and I watched him sit down.
So is it coming from behind your call, facing straight in?
It was coming across from left to right.
So did it stick its head out of some brush? Is that how it did?
No, it started walking up a logging road, and I was using a logging road. I was sitting down, so it had to come up to my call.
There was a hump in the hill.
Yeah, a little bit of a hump, a little bit of rise, and I saw the head of the mountain lion first, and it sat down. I pulled up my gun, took my safety off.
And your heart's thumping?
Yes, you're definitely like, wow, I can't believe this. You're dumbfounded a little bit because you've just done, 30 Blake stands, and you haven't called in anything. And then all of a sudden you're standing there, or you're sitting there after 20 minutes of calling, and you see this mountain lion head.
Yeah.
That mountain lion sat down for a few minutes and looked at the call, trying to figure out where this distress call was coming from.
Yeah.
Took about 3 more steps, and then I was able to harvest that mountain lion. And, it's just every experience is a little bit different when you're mountain lion hunting. You have to be really intense about what you're doing. They will come from behind you. They will come from the left, right. I try to always use some kind of feature behind me to block myself a little bit.
I was just say, do you always sit on a tree or a stump or
some kind of like incline with a little bit of a larger tree?
Is that for safety, or is that just for you to be able to observe it?
No, I think it's probably more for safety, isn't it? You're hunting a mountain lion,
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about is...
Yeah. I mean, the main thing I think is you don't want to be flanked. And I do like the fact of using an e-collar instead of using a hand call. If you're hand calling, you're calling that animal right to you.
Yeah.
If you can use an e-collar, at least you can get that call a little bit further away from you.
How far do you like to sit from it?
I think 65 yards is great for me. I wouldn't want to be anything under 35 yards. That mountain lion that I did miss that I told you about was probably a mistake of mine. It's the way I set up. It was a quick setup. It was a new area. I'm like, just set up really here, do some quick calls for 40 minutes. I had that call a little too close, and that mountain lion was on top of me within a very short period of time.
Wow.
So, I'm 0 for 100.
Crazy.
And
are you walking in before daylight and walking out after dark sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Yes.
That's the part that would spook me, is if it's, the sun's going down, getting dark, and you're putting your call away and you're hiking through after just calling, you're like, that they're alert.
Yeah,
they're there.
And you never know. I mean, I've called bobcats in where they've just sat and watched the whole time, and so I'm sure mountain lions have in the past. I mean, it's so dense, the area that we're hunting in, that you cannot see, more than 35, you're hunting logging roads. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to call a mountain lion into a logging road and trying to use a T or a rise or a bend in that logging road. And that's
Rather than a clear cut, you like the logging roads better?
I've never been able to call a mountain lion into a clear cut.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of safety for them because they're hunters
sense.
themselves.
Yeah.
They want to use the terrain, the landscape,
the cover.
to be able to protect themselves and for them to be more sly about how they're coming in to hunt that animal that's in distress that you're acting like you're calling. So I've had way more success in overgrown logging roads than I have had.
That's actually a really good tip for me, because every set I've ever done has been like, I put the call on the edge of a clear cut and I'm up in the clear cut trying to watch the tree line. So maybe that's part of
a little bit of success maybe there, but I haven't had as much. I think you're better off finding overgrown logging roads with T's, with bends, and using that T or that bend or that rise as your advantage, and putting that mountain lion in a comfortable situation for them to be able to come to that call. I think you'll have a lot more success than that. I've had a lot more success than that, than trying to call in. And not to say that it hasn't been happen where people have called mountain lions into open clear cuts and been able to harvest them, but for me, my success rate is much higher on
the roads.
Yeah, on overgrown logging roads.
I'm thinking of a couple spots of mine that I've seen cougar tracks in. And a lot of them are like my lower deer hunting areas that are fairly close to like private property with houses on it.
Yeah.
So like timberland company that's just above like people with livestock and whatnot. And so have you hunted spots like that are within, a quarter of a mile of a house, or are you just hucking it way into the backcountry?
Yeah, I'm hucking it way more into the backcountry.
What's the reason?
For me, I just feel like that's kind of where I like spending more time.
Sure.
I like being as deep in the backcountry and as far as I can get to.
Yeah.
Further to hike, further to get to.
Sure.
I'm doing some research on how much game is in that area for those those mountain lions to hunt. When I'm hunting mountain lions, I'm thinking about what they're doing to hunt for their food. But I do have a guy that Robert, who I've been speaking with, and him and I have been, sharing some information back and forth. He's been very successful in hunting close to agricultural areas.
Okay.
So, he's done really good on that. For me, that's just kind of where I've been hunting the most. Is I'm trying to find an area that has a lot of deer, a lot of elk, and even small game. Mountain lions will eat. They'll eat coyotes. They'll eat bobcat. They'll eat anything that they can.
Yeah.
So anything that's available. So. So for me, I'm more in the backcountry. I'm trying to find deep as I can and hike in as far as I can. I know that I'm not going to see people.
Yeah.
I know that if you're calling and people are hiking in that area, or other people are hunting in that area, or other activities are going on, I like to be as quiet as possible, as stealth as possible, and use those game calls or those distress calls to be able to call something in that's
definitely
in the deep, dark drainage areas of the backcountry.
I could see that for sure. How did your other hunting endeavors lead you to cougar hunting? For you, is your motivation mostly the challenge of it, that it's such a elusive animal, or is it more the altruistic killing predators that are like predator removal? Like what's kind of your main motivation?
Probably neither one of those. My main motivation
let me hear it.
is due to the fact that it's a year-long season.
Okay.
And with my busy schedule.
You shared that a couple times.
Yeah, with my busy schedule, it allows me to be in the backcountry on the times that I can.
So just whenever you want, you can just go cougar hunting.
Yeah, I can go out for the day. You and I both have young families.
Yeah.
And I think this might be great for any listener that has, a young family that want to get out and hunt. Think about it. You get 4 days general of elk season in Oregon.
With the rifle.
With the rifle. You get your bow season's a little bit longer. If you draw a tag, you're maybe getting, a week or two. You're going to take a week off. But for this, you can go anytime you want. You can work it into your family schedule. You can work it into your work schedule. You can still do other things. I do a lot of other activities outside of hunting. And so this
You're big on the golf. That's got to be a big thing.
Golf, and I play hockey as well. So
you do play hockey.
Yeah, so it gives me. I play in a men's league. So there's times where I'm playing late hockey games, and I do have the Saturday off, and the family's got stuff going on, and I can sneak out for 4 hours. It gives me a great opportunity. So it's a good opportunity. It's a challenge. And for me, I really like when the season gets dragged out, and it takes me a while to harvest something, because I feel like, you worked really hard for that meat for the freezer. And it's nice to share with your friends and have dinner parties as well.
Sure. So for someone going into it, what's like the biggest challenge you had to overcome, or like the hardest lesson to learn?
Persistence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing with mountain lion hunting. You're not going to go out and, like you said, that you're able to go out and harvest a buck within usually, would you say 5 to 10 days, somewhere in there is your window?
It's like 15 days average.
So 15 days.
Yeah.
I
get lucky on the first day every once in a while, but if not, then it's a slog.
It can happen with mountain lion hunting. You could get something, but most likely you got to be persistent. You got to put 40 days in plus. You're going to spend some time in the backcountry hunting.
Part of the reason for me that I have that timeline with a buck is it's really the deer use habitat different year from year, especially with new clear cuts being developed or human activity, whatever, it kind of moves them. And so usually if I don't do enough scouting, especially, it kind of takes me that long to get into the same groove as the deer. Yeah. Then I get into the position where I find a buck. Yeah. Would you say the reason it takes so long is because of your learning how the cougars are in the habitat, or is it just because it's just happened to be the day they were within earshot?
Yeah, it just happened the day it was in the earshot. So my rule of thumb is, like, if you can get a camera out there and you can get a mountain lion on the camera consistently, you got a 75% chance of calling him in.
Really?
If you can get a mountain lion on a camera,
high odds.
Yeah, if you can get a mountain lion on a camera consistently, and you can get him within that 24-hour period, there's a good chance you're going to call him in.
Are you using cams?
I do.
So are you using satellite cams?
No.
So you're going
the areas
cards.
that I'm hunting, no satellite, there.
Yeah.
So there's no cell service. So what I'm doing is I'm going into an area. I'm looking to see how much deer are in the area, how much food is for that mountain lion first.
Yeah.
Second thing is I'm using, woodsmanship skills. I'm looking for prints. I'm looking for anything that I can find. If there's a snow day, and I won't even set up my call. Don't even take my gun off my pack. I'm just hiking around trying to see tracks, because we don't get that much snow on the west side here. Yeah. So when we do, I use that as an opportunity to try to find out where mountain lions are traveling and what they're doing. Then I'll get a camera up. Once I get a camera up and I can get that mountain lion on that camera consistently, then I go in and hunt that area. Just recently I harvested a bobcat. I had that bobcat on camera for 2 years before I harvested him.
Wow.
So it took me a while to, I've called them.
It was a very residential cat. It was there.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was patterning that bobcat, and then finally was able to call him in. I called him in before, but it wasn't during the hunting season. Yeah. So with mountain lion, it's year round. With bobcat, it's September through February. February the 28th is the end of the season. So, and a bobcat's territory is much smaller. We talked about the territory of a mountain lion. A mountain lion is miles to a bobcat is acres.
Oh, really? That's way smaller.
Yeah, way smaller. Man. So if you can get a bobcat,
I didn't realize they were that small.
Yeah, a bobcat, they can go anywhere from 6 to 20 miles. But you're talking acres to miles when it comes to the difference between the two. So once I get a mountain lion on camera and I can get into that area, that's when it's like game on. So if you're going in, I usually check my cameras after I hunt because I don't want to be rustling around and checking a camera and then set up and call an area.
I see. So it's kind of two separate trips.
Yeah. So,
Scouting.
Or what I do is I go in first call. If nothing happens, then I go check the camera.
Okay.
Be careful while you're checking your camera because you never know what could be around you. But the mountain lion that I harvested last summer, I harvested him, did all my, got everything packed up, quartered out, got all my stuff taken care of, and I walked over to my camera and checked it, and he was on my camera 24 hours before.
So
the day that I hired that bobcat, the day that I harvested the bobcat, which was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had another mountain lion on camera 4 hours before I set up.
And it didn't come in.
So, I didn't even give it the time because the bobcat came in first within 20, less than 20 minutes, 10 minutes or something like that. But as soon as I saw that mountain lion was on my camera, my stomach dropped because I knew he was in the area. I was like, ooh, I got super excited. I'm like, okay, game on. So I sat up, did my calling, and when I was doing my calling, this bobcat came in within, I don't know, right around 12 minutes, I think.
Man,
and so I didn't want to pass on the bobcat, but I really felt like the mountain lion might have come in, and usually it takes a little bit longer for a mountain lion to come in on a call. Usually my stands run from usually about an hour and 15 minutes of calling. I never go less than 45 minutes.
Okay.
But I've had usually around 20 minutes is the magic time when you're going to have something come in.
So you're setting for 20 minutes no matter what, because that's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But you usually set up 45 minutes to an hour just to be safe.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then have you ever done longer than that?
No. Usually at that point I kind of give up, so I figure, hey, they're not in the area, or, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but usually 20 minutes is that time, I've never harvested a mountain lion less than 15 minutes, and I've never harvested a mountain lion longer than 35 minutes.
Okay. Good to know.
Calling.
Yeah, that's a huge tip, because that's one of the questions I was going to ask. Yeah. You made a note about snow a little bit ago, and for me, that's been a big thing for finding mountain lions is their tracks. Do you do any kind of tracking or?
Yeah. As soon as I see tracks, I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. The areas that I've been hunting for a while, so I kind of know, but it really kind of indicates what's going on. And I like to get a camera up in that area, or move a camera.
Yeah.
Sometimes you set up a camera and it's been a while and you haven't got anything on it, even though you've seen tracks, you saw something on the side of the logging road.
It just has to walk right in front of your camera, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, so you got to give it a little bit of time there. But, usually if I see tracks in the snow, I'll get a camera up and try to work that area for sure.
Okay. What about, I was going to ask about, what about kills when you find a kill?
Yeah, I've only found one cache once, and if you can find something that's pretty fresh, especially in the wintertime or in the springtime, when it's still cool out, I would work that kill for sure. I would get up, call.
Would you put a call like right on the kill, or?
I'd get a little ways off, but most likely, like a big cougar might sit on that kill. Really close to it. A female might be 100 yards away or whatever. Okay. But if I see a kill, yes, I'll set up. And I've only seen one time. They're pretty hard, to find. But during the summer,
I found them with the dogs.
Oh yeah, that helps.
I find them in the summer or in the fall when I'm deer hunting.
Yeah.
But usually they're not extremely fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. The fresh one is what you want to find, and that's what I was going to go to during the summertime. They're gonna, that meat's gonna spoil much faster in the summertime.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be hunting more. They might eat as much as they can, and then they'll move on to a different kill.
Yeah.
Or move on to a new site, to hunt. So I feel like, the spoilage is much quicker in the summer.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Meat can't be warm for too long.
Yeah.
And I don't think a cougar wants to eat a rotten something, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a vulture.
Yeah.
Or even bears will eat some gross stuff, but yeah. How does it differ Eastern Oregon from Western? Is it the same tactic and technique? You can just see further, right?
Yeah, you can see further. So it's more open. You use terrain different to your advantage there. So, you're going to use... brushy areas. You got to look more, same thing, more into drainage areas. Try to find shaded areas where you think they're going to be to hunt. So it's different. I have more experience, obviously, on the western side than the eastern side, but I have hunted on the eastern side.
Maybe another perk of east is more snow. Tracking's easier.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, during the
You could
during the
drive,
winter.
if you go east, you could probably drive a road to cut a track
Yeah.
and then follow it in and set your call.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
on
Or
the
keep
west
following
side, there's rare times you can do that.
Yeah, it makes it even tougher.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's guys out there that will find tracks, follow those tracks, get as close as they can, and do setups.
Have you ever done that on the east or on the west? I mean,
I've only every time that I've hunted on the you said eastern side or western side. Every time that I've hunted on the eastern side, it's been summertime, no snow, no tracks.
Got it. Okay.
I'm always on the western side during the winter months.
Yeah, because it's close to home and life's busy in the winter. Yep. So speaking of regions, what are kind of the cougar hotspots? You said the north, but I've heard that the northeast is a cougar hotspot, but
it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you saying northeast is kind of like the cougar region of
northeast
Oregon?
is pretty good. I'm glad that you actually mentioned that because I wanted to touch on that. So basically, the Department of the Wildlife post every single month the numbers of harvest. You know, if you look at, they break it into zones, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And so the Blue Mountains is the part that you're talking about. And basically hunters harvested 74 mountain lions, and then non-hunters, which would be depredation, 17. So 74 hunters harvested mountain lions in that Blue Mountains area, and then 17 were depredation. In our area,
I'm happier with that ratio than I thought I was going to be. I thought that was going to be a way different ratio.
Well, in our area here, where we're at, we're Zone A. 85 guys harvested mountain lions.
So more than east, okay.
Yep, way more than east. Well, not way more, but more. And then 50 depredation.
So that's more the ratio I was expecting, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and then you look at like Southeast Oregon, there was 21 harvested by hunters and 9 depredation.
9 depredation.
Yeah, and then you look like Southeast Cascade, you know, 13 by hunters and 6 by depredation.
6 by, okay.
So if you look where we're at, I mean, this total mountain lions that were harvested in our state. Now remember, we have 7,000, roughly almost 7,000. It's a little bit less than 7,000. I think it's 6,800, somewhere around there is what the state says. There was 228 mountain lions harvested total for the state by hunters, and 150 for depredation. Total mortality was 378.
Because of cars and stuff.
Yeah. And then the quota for the year for all of those areas is 970.
So we never even get close to the quota.
378 with. Well, if you just want to talk about quota and with hunters, 228 were harvested by hunters in the entire state with a 970 quota for the year.
Yeah.
In our area that we hunt, our quota is 180, and only 85 were harvested by by hunters, and a total of 135 for depredation and hunters. So, still, we're not even coming close to our totals.
Am I understanding quota correctly that it's the amount that they want to remove from the population?
Correct.
Because when they sell tags, they don't sell the amount of tags they want to remove from the population. They sell more because we only have for a lot of species, like for elk, it's like a 10% tag. So they can, if they want to kill 100 elk in a little spot, then they can give 1,000 tags because 10% of that is 100, and then they might reach what they want to kill. So with cougars, it's the quota, it's different because it's an unlimited amount of tags, right? And they want to remove this segment of the population, which is the quota. Am I understanding that right?
Correct. And I think that's what Peter explained to me, who is our Division of Wildlife biologist.
Sure.
And I mean, think about this, though. You have a 1.5 to 5 point success rate of harvest, depending on the region, that A, B, C, D.
Sure.
And then if any area you have 12, if any area has about a 12 to 17% female harvest, a biologist might close that area, even if they haven't reached the quota.
Really?
Yeah. So,
that is new information to me.
Yeah. So, and that's what Peter kind of explained to me is like, hey, if we have just all these females that come in, and for our quota, and we're trying to reach our quota, and we never have a male come in. They're calling it somewhere between 12 to 17%. Peter said that they would probably close that, and it's never happened, but he said it could.
Well, because if it's a guy like me who's just trying to get his first cougar, I'm going to kill whatever walks in.
Yeah,
but is that something that you have self-limited?
Well, I mean, think about this. You're not going to. I mean, if you're calling mountain lions, you only have that 6 seconds. You're not going to be able to determine that whether that's a male or a female.
So it's kind of luck of the draw at some point.
Yeah.
Other than obvious small one, right, versus an obvious big one.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's going to give you a little bit of idea on that, on weight size. Because an average female is probably somewhere between 80 to 100 pounds, and a male will go 100 pounds to 150, maybe even up to 180.
Sure.
And, you can kind of look tip to tail. I mean, a large mountain lion is probably 8 feet, where a smaller, is probably around 6 feet, somewhere around there.
That's a big animal.
That's a lot of stuff to compress in 6 seconds, to try to figure out if you're going to harvest. So a lot of times you don't even know. Another mountain lion that I harvested, recently, I thought it was a male. I had, when I saw it come in, I shot. And this mountain lion, as soon as I shot, I put a great shot right where you're supposed to. It literally leaped 6 feet into the air, off the logging road and into the dense brush.
Wow.
And
it was a hit?
It was a total hit, perfect hit. I was able to recover that mountain lion. I had to crawl into the bush and look for him.
Oh, that's gotta be the worst part.
That's probably the worst part.
That's when you wish you had someone with you, huh?
Yeah, that's when you definitely want somebody with you. So it's always a little nerve-wracking.
When you get one, do you call people right away, or do you go in after it by yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty much by myself the whole time. I do hunt with my friend a little bit, Josh. I do have some other friends that I've taken, non-hunters, that I've taken with me mountain lion hunting.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool. So I've taken some friends and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, mountain lions can jump anywhere from 15 to 18 feet in the air, and they can cover a distance of 40 feet in a leap. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. And that's the other part of calling
super strength.
Yeah, the other part of calling them in too is I mean, a mountain lion lives anywhere from 8 to 10 years. And I think Peter told me too, when I because I'm like you, when I got with the biologist, it's like the only time that I can really get good information. He said that they have, probably two to four kittens, and it's every 2 years. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, Peter, do you think that by me if I was to harvest 2 mountain lions, am I taking too much off the landscape? That was my question. Or do you think if I take one mountain lion in the same area every year, is that going to change the landscape? And he really felt like I probably wasn't going to do as much damage as I thought. I was thinking. He's like, Jim, you're thinking the wrong way on that.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of good to, when you do your check-in, make sure that you're talking with a biologist. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with that check-in too. When you harvest a mountain lion, a female, you have to take the fallopian tubes into the biologist.
And I've always wondered, is that because they want to know if it just had kittens?
Yeah, they do. They take one tooth. I think the mountain lion has to reach age 2 or I think it's 3, where you'll actually start to see the first ring on the tooth.
Sure.
And so they take a tooth out to check that, and then also they're checking the fallopian tubes. Unfortunately, we never really get any information back as a hunter.
Really?
You do get a card back saying, hey, you harvested a mountain lion. That mountain lion was 4 years old, 2 years old, 6 years.
That's
you get the age, but you don't get to find out anything like, how old, or how has that mountain lion had, a litter, that kind of, have they had kittens, so you do get a little bit of information. It usually takes about 6 months to get a card back from the state.
So if someone were to accidentally take a, what's a girl mountain lion called? A female?
Just female.
A female mountain lion.
Yeah, female cat.
With like kittens that you didn't see or were hidden, and you don't even know, you take it in, then they check the tubes and they said, oh, this cat just had kittens 12 weeks ago, or...
I don't think I've never got any information on that.
Sure.
I don't think you would even know. I don't think the biologist would know.
They wouldn't pursue some sort of charge or anything?
No, it'd be 6 months later. I mean, obviously, you want to make sure that when you do bring in a mountain lion, into the call, want to make sure that it doesn't have anything with it. And really, that's your obligation as a hunter.
Yeah. So, but it's not like they're trying to get evidence against you by harvesting the tubes.
No, not at all. I think what they're trying to do is, and I don't know for sure, but they're just trying to track, mountain lions and have good data.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the Sports Pack Slam real quick, I just wanted to ask a few more hunting questions. We've gotten a lot of good info so far, so thank you so much for being prepared on all that. I just have some last questions. How worried are you about wind? Like with an elk, live and die by the wind.
Yeah,
what about a mountain lion?
Yeah, live and die by the wind. Coyotes, when you're calling, you're going to either call in coyotes, you're going to call in bobcats, or you're going to call in a mountain lion.
Those called in any bears?
I have not. My friend Josh has called in a bear.
Okay. Before. That's a thing. Calling in bears is a thing.
Yeah, my friend Josh, spring tag, he was working both, calling mountain lions and calling bears, and he called a bear in. So
nice.
And was carrying a spring bear tag, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
I have not had that experience, but but
the wind is important.
The wind. Okay, so going back, I've called coyotes in and I've seen them come in behind me and my wind cone is blowing that way, they'll turn and go instantly.
They'll sniff you and they're gone.
They're gone. But I feel like a mountain lion and bobcats, the wind isn't such. I think with all animals, you have to have a little bit of cognizance of where the wind's blowing.
They can all smell better than us.
Yeah, but I'm not as concerned about it when I'm mountain lion or bobcat hunting.
Sure. I mean, sometimes I'm walking through the woods, a lot of times elk hunting, I'm using my nose, or you'll smell a bear. One time I bumped a bear out of his bed, smelt identical to dirty wet dog. Yeah. Like when you give a dirty dog a bath and you got that just unique smell, it was that exact same smell as what that bear smelled like. So we can smell critters, just they can smell us way better.
It's funny that you say that. When I was crawling in the bush looking for that mountain lion, and I carry a handgun with me, when I'm kind of crawling in there, and I actually smelled that cat before I saw him.
What did it smell like?
Yeah, same thing, kind of like dirty dog.
Smelled like dirty dog.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I knew something was there.
Okay.
And then obviously I was able to find, just kind of move a branch and then be able to look. That's pretty nerve-wracking. I'd say that's the most nerve-wracking thing.
Was it dead when you came on it?
It was. So it was a perfect shot. I think I posted that. I posted that on my Instagram too. That was the last mountain lion that I harvested.
Have you ever come up on one that you had to do a follow-up, or it's probably not possible, right? Because they're so gone, right?
Yeah, not yet. I'm hunting with probably a heavier gun than I need to be due to the fact that I hunt by myself. I'm hunting on logging roads.
What are you using?
I'm using a 300 Win with a 180 grain
that's
bullet.
Hot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking for knockdown power. When I'm hunting by myself, the last thing I want to do is crawl into the bush. Shot placement is very key for me. The last 2 mountain lions that I've harvested, my shot placement was perfect.
Is it similar to a deer?
As far as
shot placement.
Yes, similar to a deer. A mountain lion is very thin skinned. That 300 is probably overkill, but I'm the difference between, I guess I'm giving it the Mike Tyson punch.
Sure.
So I want to make sure it's out in one and down.
I'm out there with my 30-06 and it's got some power, you know.
Yeah.
If it can take down an elk, it can probably take down a mountain lion.
Yeah. Mountain lion is just very thin skinned. It's doesn't take much.
Yeah. So man. So, but you don't want to wound one because
don't want to wound one. That's not on my game plan. Yeah.
When you said that you're one of the reasons you love it 365 days, but is there like a season of the year like what's the cougar rut, or is there a time when they're more active and feeding that is kind of hotter?
I'm glad that you asked this. This is a great question. So I start my mountain lion season in January. I always do the calendar year because that's when I got to buy my new tag.
Yeah,
so January.
Makes sense.
So I spend January, February, and I'm pretty much using distress calls of rabbits. I'm using, cottontail distress, jackrabbit distress, hare distress, snowshoe hare 2 distress, and I really like the devil hare.
So a lot of rabbits and hares.
Yeah, mountain or MFK cottontail. Those are all the calls I love, and that's January, February. And
it's per month you change.
Yeah, so and it works out great because that's bobcat season too. So you can harvest a bobcat during that time. So once I hit March, April, May, June. Those months, I'm using distress call on deer, and I'm using distress call on elk.
So kind of around fawn drop.
So the deer will drop. So you get deer drops first. So I try to stay with the MFK fresh fawn call. So I'll stick with that, and in my months of March and April, and then as the elk come on, then I'll switch back and forth, and I'm using deer and elk distress calls all the way through June.
So the whole fawn season. Yeah. one question I have, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that specific fawn call. I have one that I bought from Fox Pro that is a blacktail fawn in distress.
Yeah.
And it really hammers. Like it's like a like
it's really
forever.
good. Yeah.
And is that what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm using that same call.
I've never heard a deer make that noise, but
Yeah. That's a fawn just crying for its mom, and the mountain lions just put the hammer on it. I mean,
sure.
That is the time of year.
That's when I thought you'd call in a bear.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
You can call in a bear that time for your spring bear tag if you draw a bear tag, but that's the best time of year to hunt. That April, May, that's your spring turkey season.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, that's my favorite time to hunt. And then I'm still using that call all the way into summer. Then once I get into late summer, usually I'm hoping that I'm harvested by then.
Sure.
So I'm not really hunting in, August, September. Once I hit September, I'm into, my other hunting seasons, September, October, November, kind of stretching back into mountain lion.
Yeah, because that's December, one thing I was thinking about, is the fall's probably distracting.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, the fall is when I'm focusing on other game animals.
Well, do you duck hunt?
I do a little bit.
Yeah, I duck hunt quite a bit, and that kind of, as soon as my big game seasons are over, duck hunting's kind of like, I do a lot of duck hunting, so,
My days of duck hunting are less than, obviously, my mountain lion hunting.
Sure.
I do go see my friend Jason Otto up on the Puget Sound a little bit there, and a little bit here. I've got another buddy that I duck hunt with here a little bit.
Yeah.
But I try to focus more on the mountain lion that time. That's my key time and my key window.
Yeah, sweet. Well, that's some really good info. I think that does it for the tips and a lot of the mountain lion hunting stuff. Man, I feel like I'm ready to go out and make it happen now.
Yeah. And I mean,
this was a good education.
Yeah. I think it's it's a great opportunity. So I'm going to hopefully, this opens the door for some other guys that want to get out there and try it.
Well, we talk about the Oregon Sports Pack Slam, which as a I don't know what you want to call it, an organization, as a podcast, we started this thing where we're trying to be the official, recognition of the Oregon Sports Pack Slam. We've got a plaque. We're going to send you a t-shirt, a certificate. We're going to put it in our records. We're going to do a little investigation to make sure it's legit.
Yeah.
And so you appreciated that effort that we're doing there. You and me have talked a little bit about it.
I was super excited when you guys came up with this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to meet the guy that does this. So.
I know, and that's the thing is the cougar is the one that holds most people up.
Yeah.
As much as like if you have a good fall and you can get your deer and your elk and even, turkey can be fairly easy, especially if you have access to good land. The bear, once again, spring bear is awesome, Southern Oregon, but like the mountain lion really holds a lot of people up. And so you having such experience and success in mountain lions, you're a pretty hot contender for being in the Sports Pack Slam.
Yeah, my problem is the elk.
Okay.
The elk's been holding me up quite a bit.
Well, the elk is the one thing you didn't get this year, right?
Yeah.
Because you got your deer, you got your turkey, you got your cougar and bear.
My bear, actually, I did not draw a...
you got your bear in a different state.
Yeah, in Canada, actually. I did not draw a bear tag this spring, so I have a preference point. So I'm guaranteed I would think one this spring. But yeah, I didn't draw, so I ended up going to Canada to hunt in Canada. So I did harvest a bear, but it wasn't in the state.
Sure.
But
would you ever put a lot of effort into fall bear?
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of guys that are actually getting the fall bear are probably, spot and stalk, as they're
clear
going.
Cut hunting and
they're
stuff.
clear cut hunting and see them. My biggest problem has been the elk. I've been applying for, I'm not hunting the elk unless I draw a tag. And
I see. Yeah.
So this year was my first year that I actually hunted general season elk, and it was kind of interesting.
Side.
Yeah, it was interesting for me.
Yeah.
So
I had a really tough year. I had a couple of great years in a row.
Yeah.
But this last year, I put all my eggs in one basket. If you remember, I did the podcast about the King of the Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
That bull elk that I was after last year.
Yeah.
And so I put all my eggs in his basket, and I didn't see him this year. So
Kind of sounds like that bobcat that I stalked for a while.
Oh yeah, you made friends with that bobcat. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Maybe I'll find the king next year.
Yeah. So I would like to meet the individual. I hope nobody did it this year that you guys.
We did not get any. So here's the thing. I want to say it now on the air, and I'm going to announce it on social media too. That I've got the application open until the end of February.
Yep.
So February 28th, you can apply for, or you can input your application for the 2025 Oregon Sports Pack Slam, and after that I'm gonna close it for the cash prize. But I'm still now that we're moving forward, I'm gonna go ahead and open up historical record. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that. I probably might not do like the whole t-shirt and all that stuff, but just to have like the record and a certificate at least, you know. But I'll decide how to continue with that. But after February 28th, I want to open up the historical record and see if anyone wants to put in who did it in any past year, just to see what's out there.
Yeah.
Considering we didn't get any applications yet this time.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see if anybody's done it historically. Man, it's a real challenge. When you guys posted that and I saw it on your social media, I was like, wow, this is going to be really cool.
I know.
And so I think maybe I messaged you and asked about it, and it said, hey.
Sure did.
And then you sent me some more information on it, and I'm like, wow. So I kind of made it a goal.
Yeah,
I love it. So I got close, but
I made it a goal too, and I did the Sports Pack Slamment this year. But so that's kind of hard to do on purpose. But then the other thing though is, I feel like a lot of the guys who are going to fulfill it might be bashful or shy or just aren't interested in, So I just want to say that you're not chasing clout or anything.
Yeah.
This is for our information. We want to know.
Yeah.
And we also, it's cool to be recognized. Like, this is a big feat to be able to do that. So I hope that anyone who knows about it, who has done it, will be willing to sign up for that application, But yeah, the 2025 with the cash prize, that's going to be closing February 28th. And then after that, without the cash prize, I just want to open it up and see who's done it and who we can, get in there on the plaque on the wall, Get the record book going.
That's good. Well, I came close. I mean, I missed it by the elk, and obviously, I guess I missed it by the bear too, since my bear was out of country. But I made it a goal as mine. I made it 2 goals this year for myself. One was to try to find a way to improve my hunting ability. And that was by changing my camo.
Oh, really?
That was, and I think by the 2 goals were change my camo and try to do the sports pack.
Sure.
And by changing my camo, that was big for me. I feel like when you're stalking mountain lions, you can get picked off pretty quick on movement. So I think by changing camo for me this year is going to improve that a little bit.
Nice.
Obviously I said that I linked up with Sea Deer camo this year.
Where are they located out of?
Out of Kentucky. Jason is the owner and he's a veteran. He spent some time in Afghanistan during his time in the military. He developed this camo product from his time in the military, and it's a great line, great product. I feel like Sea Deer is going to be the next big product in the hunting industry.
Nice.
I mean, they have everything from warm weather hunting and cold weather hunting gear. They've got a good Arctic mid-layer base system. They've got a good stalker hoodie.
Is their main, what makes them stand out, the pattern, or is it the type of gear?
Yeah, the pattern for me. Their gear is good quality. I mean, Jason has, spent his time in the military. He really understood when he got out of the military. He really put it a focused. There was nothing in the industry that was. There were some things that were close, but not as close as what Jason was able to develop.
Oh, yeah.
And so those were really my 2 goals, was to improve my camo. I think his camo works really good in the shade. And when you're mountain lion hunting, you're in shady areas with a little bit of light kind of...
filtering through.
Filtering through.
Like turkey hunting a lot of the time.
Yeah, same. So his camo is phenomenal. And
turkeys are the ultimate test. Well, what about mountain lion vision? because they're not an ungulate. Ungulates don't have the best vision, but it certainly works well for movement.
Yeah.
Turkeys are keen.
Yeah,
they're
keen,
sharp.
Keen. Well, mountain lion, I think, is the ultimate predator. I mean, that's their job. They're using vision. They're using their ability of train. They're using their muscles as far as to be able to jump, be able to, attack.
So the camo is a lot more important.
Yeah, so the camo is pretty important for me, and that's really why it kind of I ended up linking up with Jason on his pro staff team, but for sea deer camo, but. I think that's a big piece of the mountain lion hunting, and I don't feel like I was doing a very good job of that in the last few years. And it's kind of like that mistake that I told you about when I missed that mountain lion, and I probably had my call too close.
Yep.
I think by improving my camo this year and making that change that I made with having my call too close to me, and really those are the mistakes I made, and I feel like trying to improve those mistakes. So those were my 2 goals to hit.
Great.
And hopefully I hit them with the sports pack, and with improving my camo.
Well, so have you gotten to put the camo to the test on a lion yet?
I haven't. So hopefully this year is going to be, that was my change this year. So
Great.
Hopefully putting it to the test. But pretty excited about it.
Great.
Hopefully I can harvest something. But I feel like the camo's given me the ability to improve my skills to be
more confident out there
in the backcountry for sure.
Good, nice, awesome. We end the show same way every time with what we call the real talk. So I wanted to ask you about your spiritual connection to your life in the outdoors.
Yeah, great question. And I know that you asked this question quite a bit because it's interesting to hear what some of the guys have to say. But most people are super busy these days with their jobs and the demands of life in general. For me, when I'm in the backcountry, it's the one time that my mind is 100% focused on nothing but the landscape and the beauty of the outdoors.
Yeah.
And what it has to offer. And this is a real spiritual connection for me. When I'm out rowing my raft in the canyon of the Deschutes River, or hunting or hiking in the backcountry, my mind drifts away from the city and the hustle and bustle of life, So this gives me a real spiritual connection to help get my mind focused and really what's important to life for me. Each day is important, I feel like, especially you get older like me. And, I'm in my 50s now, so you think about things a little bit different. But, I feel having a good focus on spiritual connection is important to someone's life as well. So I think the backcountry really gives that piece to me, and it's a great connection. That if you're ever struggling, it's just good to go for a hike and be in the backcountry and think about all those things, and it really gives you
get back to yourself. Get back to the
it really gives you a great spiritual connection, and I really enjoy that. That's really important to me.
Yeah,
probably why I like the hiking the most and being in the backcountry. Enjoy that it takes me a long time to harvest a mountain lion.
Yeah, I was gonna say that means that lion hunting's good for you because the time, right?
Yeah,
that's good. Thank you for sharing that perspective. I appreciate it. I think we covered a lot of ground. You think so?
Yeah,
all right.
I think, we put out some pretty good tips and tactics there, hopefully some good information. We talked about different calls and, that different camo and what's kind of out there. So I feel like we even covered a few other things outside of mountain lion hunting, which kind of really kind of helped too.
Yeah. Could you tell the listeners where to find you, connect with you, and anything else that you want to plug?
Yeah. Pretty much, I'm only on Instagram. I only have one social media, and it's kind of my main focus of posting information on mountain lion hunting. But it's PNW_mountain_lion, and I'm just a new member of the Sea Deer Pro Staff team, and really that came down to me just trying to find some better camo, and I feel like they got the best thing for me going.
Could you spell out Sea Deer so we know how to type it in?
It's CEDEER.
Okay, so it's like cedar, but deer in the back of it. Okay,
yep, deer. And,
Sea Deer.
Jason's done a great job. He's out of Kentucky, and he's in a bunch of shows. His company's pretty new, 2024.
Okay. Yeah, very new.
Yeah, very new. And really 2025 is when he got going.
Okay.
And so for me, I was doing some research trying to figure out what's going to improve my, me out in the field. And when I came across it, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Sweet. Awesome. Great. Thank you for joining me at the Tualatin Cabela's.
Yeah, pretty cool being here at the Cabela's Bass Pro. And it's a cool building. And I really want to thank those guys for giving us the opportunity to record here.
Absolutely.
Spot to record.
Thank you to shout out to the manager here who let us join in.
Yeah.
My name's Bryant.
Myers.
Thank you for listening.
Cheers.